gonna we're gonna get started. Don may not have joined because he's not feeling well. I don't know what John's situation is. I'm not hearing from John.
Can we send him a question?
Yeah, I guess I could, couldn't I?
Go in the chat.
Yeah, I'll chat him.
Okay,
Maybe.
go ahead.
Seth, make sure.
You doing it, Tina?
I'm trying to.
Yeah, but he needs to be in at 11:15 to shower and gone by 11:30.
Hi, Patricia.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'll help you.
I need you.
I'm gonna let you do, David. I
In case
can't.
it was you. I was like,
I got Don's calling in. Hang on. Hello, Don.
well, you could dial the phone number on the meeting and that should get you audio. I can also try putting you on speakerphone. I just don't know if it's going to give us a heinous echo.
You want me to resend that to you?
I don't see a chat box now.
The email from
Usually there is one.
yesterday, I think. Yeah.
Right. Well, looks like you could probably dial any of the phone numbers, but yeah, it's not showing up with an audio or a video icon for you.
Oh, well.
Okay, stay on the phone. I'm gonna send
I have John on my phone.
Hang on. Okay, I've got Don. I need to resend the link to him. Hang on, everybody.
Okay. Put him on speakerphone.
I retired from government service to in part to reduce my stress. This isn't helping. But we're getting there. Okay, I've resent the link. Okay, it should be in your inbox, Don. And
Here's the dirty ones.
should be a hot link. Should be a hot link down there in the email that I forwarded. Hey. Okay. You can always you can participate just by staying on the phone.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go the easy way.
Okay. John Fry, are you out there in TV land? I'm going to call the meeting to order. At 10:37. Katie and I put together an agenda basically this morning, which I sent to everyone, but you might not have seen. Larry, do you have that? Can you bring it up on the screen for people to look at? Yeah, there it is. Now, the version I have is pretty tiny, but it's pretty simple. And mainly, I'll just skip to the main things. I have one thing to talk about regarding the budget committee. And then the main order of business is under new business. Consideration of temporary suspension of Monday operating hours at Gordonsville. Staff request to close. Approval of Wi-Fi hotspot lending agreement form, which I also have sent to you. I realized twice, but the first one I sent you was incorrect. The second one I've sent you was correct. And that's it. Now, I've already asked about time limits, so we're good to go there. Does anybody have anything else they want to add to the agenda? Keeping in mind that we have only about an hour left to operate.
Just while we're, Dave, while we're talking about the suspension of Monday operating hours, I'd like to hear from Katie on operations at the other branches as well.
Sure. We'll just include that. And
Yep.
and yeah. And I would ask when we get to that, Katie, just kind of give us an overview of what you've been dealing with, what the issues are, and then we'll hone in on Gordonsville and the closure request. Anything else anybody wants to add?
Announcement coming out on the paper or anything like that?
Say what?
Is there any kind of an announcement coming out in the paper about this?
When we get to that, we'll have Katie talk about that. Okay.
Okay, fine. I'm game.
Okay. If there's no objection, we will approve the agenda as described, printed and described. Hearing no objection, the agenda is accepted. The first item is the chairman's report, comments, announcements. I simply want to announce that Don has asked to step down from the budget committee and Joan has agreed to take his place. So Joan and Beth are now our budget committee and they'll be waiting to hear from Katie about getting together. Let's move now to new business, and thank you, Joan. New business, and Katie, over to you. And I think you can get the agenda out of there, Larry. Thank you. This looks like a coffee mug, but it's full of wine.
What are the hours nowadays?
Katie,
Where?
I can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Katie.
Yeah. If you're talking, Katie, we can't hear you.
No big deal.
And now she's moved on the screen. I'm going to put the phone closer to my computer, Don. Okay, Katie's back.
Okay.
I can hear you. I think we all can hear you.
Okay.
Fire away.
Patricia's most recently hired employee turned out to have some serious health issues and needed to cease her employment for medical reasons. And we have not been able to get a replacement person. The applications are not really coming in any quantity, and those that we have been getting have not been the type of person we wanted to hire. But between we added that position so we could add the additional hours Monday, and
Right.
the staff that we have left are just not enough to stretch to cover that. The only good thing I can say about this is it's our slowest time of year in terms of patron traffic. So it's, I guess, a little bit less of an impact than it would be otherwise. We figured that doing that was the easiest, cleanest way. Patricia's going to have to do Saturdays to cover with having one less person in the Saturday rotation. So it gives her a chance to still have, somewhat of a weekend, as opposed to shortening every day by 2 hours or some other mechanism that we could do. I think, Patricia, do you have something that let them know how you're suffering?
Right now, I'm working both our open evenings, 10.5-hour shifts, 2 days in a row, and every other weekend because we are short-staffed. If we could close temporarily on Mondays, I can move Sinead to Wednesday evenings, and then that'll go back to the schedule I had when I started and we were closed on Mondays. I would still come in Mondays for some period of time to do the book drop, but we could exist with the staff we have. The Wednesday after election day, Bob had a leak in his ceiling and couldn't come in. And then 2 other people called in sick. If Terry hadn't been here as a fluke because she works here now because of COVID, I would not have been able to open the library. That's how short-staffed we are. And the only reason that either one of us got to have a lunch break is because Michelle came from Maine to give us breaks. And even then, in order for Terry to go home, I had to call Sinead in on her day off to cover closing hours. And there just aren't enough of us, especially if somebody calls in sick, to cover all the hours that we're open now.
Don had a question on the phone. Don, what was your question?
What are the current hours?
Well, every day, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, she sort of answered them.
Yeah, and you can also look on the library website to see when they're open
Right.
each day. That hasn't
Yeah,
changed.
Patricia, will the, and this is actually directed to Patricia and Katie, and I don't know if it's muddling 2 ideas together, but the recent pronouncement by the county regarding holiday gatherings and administrative leave, does that compound Patricia's problem and then extend to the other branches as far as people not being able to come into work? And I don't know if that's a separate issue from the Monday closing, but that's kind of what I was asking to add to the agenda. You know, if we need to do more than close Gordonsville on Monday, or should we deal with that and then talk about the other?
First of all, do any members have any more questions about what the issue is at Gordonsville? And then we'll have Katie talk about more generally what she's dealing with. Okay, Katie, go ahead.
I've got one quick question.
Oh, Beth.
Whoever came in on Monday, Patricia, did she work some of the other evenings that you were talking about too, or just the Monday hours?
I work Tuesday evenings.
Okay, but the person that was in working on Mondays, when else did she work?
Oh, the new person that we hired worked Mondays, Wednesday evenings, Fridays, and alternating Saturdays.
Wow, okay, a lot. All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
a lot. So
Yeah.
we're trying to
Exactly.
minimize the disruption to the public, but you know, she's past the point where they can handle what they're doing with the staff they have. And
Right.
the county memo that Christine was referring to definitely discouraged us from sharing staff between branches, and you know, that being a potential viral vector, we basically said stop moving people from work site to work site. I've asked Michelle Purcell to stop going to Gordonsville. Terry is going to stop coming to Maine. I do think that is somewhat of a separate issue. For me, that would fall under our COVID plan. And if we have to quarantine a sufficient number of staff due to holiday exposures or what have you, those closures would not be under the same directive or voting for me. We are already, I think, covered there that if we have to close due to quarantining for COVID, we will.
I agree.
So it won't mess up the public messaging because they're 2 separate issues.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
Katie, would you also comment, please, on what Ted Voorhees told you? If you think you can share it, if it's not a matter of confidentiality, what he said to you regarding part-time wages.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure on that.
Okay.
I had called Administrator Voorhees to ask for clarification about the memo that he had sent out, because I had a couple questions, and in the course of that conversation, I was informing him of my intent to ask the library board to close Gordonsville on Mondays due to the staffing. And I mentioned that we were not getting any applications for the position, or not as many as we wanted or needed. And he asked me what the pay rate was for it. And I told him it starts at $10.37. And he said, oh, well, I see why you're not getting the applications. They could make much more at McDonald's or Target. And it is something that he has on his agenda as something he wishes to approach the Board of Supervisors about, trying to get some of these positions in Orange County to more of a living wage. He said he has much work to do, but he is intending to try to take that on when he can.
And a potential side benefit of dealing with this issue. Katie, what else would you like to share regarding the general picture in the 3 library system? And other than the fact that if COVID kicks in, we might have to follow our earlier policy decisions in terms of cutting back, closing, et cetera. Anything else you want to add?
I think staff are nervous because we're all seeing a lot of things in the news about how the cases are ramping up. And, you know, everyone knows where those dashboards are and they can get to them and they see it. And I wouldn't say they're paranoid, but they're concerned. More or less, I think concern is a good thing because it can help you, you know, practice safe behavior. We're going to try to, we did a staff video meeting yesterday, and we're going to try to, you know, re-encourage our staff to stay apart from each other when they're at work. We've been practicing pretty good practices all along, as far as only one staff member goes in the break room at a time. We're not, you know, congregating. We're doing all of our department staff meetings by video. We haven't really relaxed the way that people have in some cases in their personal lives with things. So I think
it sounds like we're just, other than dealing with Gordonsville, we're kind of in a wait and see mode, as we have been since we opened in June.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to add too that it appears that our safety measures, our cleaning, distancing, masking, et cetera, have generally paid off. We're not aware of any cases of patrons, especially having gotten the virus and attributing it to having been to the library. So that seems to be working pretty well. Does anybody have any other questions about the picture in general or the Gordonsville situation specifically? Then we're going to need a motion.
I do have one other,
Sure.
excuse me. I do have another question for Patricia and Katie. Okay, Patricia, you mentioned that the new person worked Mondays, Wednesday evening, Friday, and alternate Saturdays. Is closing Monday, is that going to be enough to ease your scheduling? I know you were under duress before the person was hired, which prompted us to, you know, get the position in the budget. So going back to before the fourth person, is that going to be enough? With Terry there, does that relieve you any, is that enough, I guess is my question.
That takes us back to where we were before we opened on Mondays, the staff levels.
Right.
So yes, I think we can cover it with S, especially with Terry here.
Oh, okay.
Terry isn't
Okay.
meant to work the desk.
Right,
Yeah,
but
so-
she's a second person because you have to have two people, right?
Yes.
So
Should somebody call in sick or
Yeah, if somebody calls in sick, she needs to leave the building to go home for lunch because she has a dog to take care of. So if it's just her and I here and she needs to leave for lunch, I would have to close the building for an hour.
Okay.
And
But
if
Patricia,
somebody did call in sick, then
well,
The
don't let
dog
people
pees
call
on the
in.
carpet.
Patricia, but before we opened on Mondays, you had 4 staff members, including yourself, right?
no, 3.
Okay. Okay.
It was Brandy and Sinead and Bob and me.
Well, that's 4. Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I wanted to have the
Right.
discussion, is just closing Mondays, is that enough?
So currently it's just you and Sinead and Bob, right?
And Dalton.
Oh, okay. He's still there. Okay.
We did have M also.
Yeah.
M is now gone.
Okay.
So it was 3
All right.
part-time staff members and me.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay.
So we need a motion. I think maybe the precise wording of it is something Beth and I will work out in the minutes, and then you all can comment on. But the intent of the motion would be to temporarily suspend Monday operating hours, Gordonsville branch, with the understanding that if a 5th staff member can be hired, those hours will be reinstated. Did I get that right, Katie and Patricia?
yes.
Okay. Would somebody make that motion?
I move that we temporarily suspend Monday hours at the Gordonsville branch until an additional staff position can be filled.
Second?
I'll second it.
Joan, was that you?
That was me. Just so you know, I'm here.
That's
Oh,
John on
that's
my
John.
phone.
You are here. Okay, welcome. Okay, John Fry seconded the motion. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of, I think what we need to do, because we're on Zoom, I figured this out after our last meeting. I need to do a roll call. If there's no objection, I'm going to do a roll call. And when I call your name, simply say yes if you're in favor of the motion, no if you're opposed. I'll start with Don.
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
Ken, Tina.
Yes.
I got you. John
Yes.
and Dave's a yes, so that it's unanimous. Thank you. And Beth, please show that it was unanimous. Okay, let's move to the staff request to close libraries on Saturday, December the 26th. Isn't that near a holiday?
Yes, it would be the day after Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We are doing curbside only on Saturdays, and the traffic has been very, very low. Maine is having some Saturdays only 2 clients the entire half a day that we're here. The busiest Saturday since we've started tracking it back in August is 6 people.
Yeah.
And they
On the 26th.
well just on every Saturday so far since August, the busiest one at Maine's been 6 people. The branches haven't been counting, but they said theirs were also very slow.
We had 1 person this week.
Yeah. And
Is
the
it
staff
working?
said it would really be nice, kind of the nicest thing that you could do. for
Can't hear
We lost
you.
we lost your voice, Katie. She's re-entering, I believe.
The new camera I ordered can't get here soon enough.
Okay, we hear you. We don't see you, but we hear you.
And microphone.
Remember the good old days when
Bought
we met
5
in
of the
person?
same cameras, and for whatever reason, the one that I got is the one that's always glitching. When the pandemic started, it was really hard to get a video camera, and we ended up getting some piece of crap from China. Still no?
It's very low.
Ugh, okay. I'll try to repeat it again.
So we were talking about Saturdays while Katie's getting reset there. I guess the musical question needs to be asked is, should we completely stop Saturday curbside? It's a rhetorical question at this point. All right, Katie, can we hear you now, you think?
Let's see.
Yeah, we hear.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
loud and clear.
So Katie, I posed the question, should we completely eliminate Saturday curbside, or is it a good PR move to keep it going?
Well, I think if the virus gets worse out in the world and people are more in, curbside becomes more in demand, it would be good to have. I think that particular day will be very slow if we are here, and it's sort of weighing the how many people are we likely to serve by having those staff members there who would all really rather not be here.
Don,
So,
what was
so
Don
the,
had a comment.
I have a
Don,
question.
please. Don, what was your comment? Okay, Tina.
I have a question. The agenda says staff request to close libraries on Saturday, December 26th. Is that different than what we're talking about for curbside? Are we closing, you want to, I'm confused. Are we talking about two things here?
No, all we do on Saturdays is curbside.
Yeah, but not to get rid of curbside on Saturday, just to close that one Saturday for curbside, to not do it that one day.
Oh, okay. Only do curbside on Saturday, December 26th.
No, we're only doing curbside every Saturday currently.
But you only want to close on December 26th.
Correct.
Curbside. Okay,
Yes.
okay. I'm just trying to, okay.
Yeah, if we,
And we already, the building is already going to be closed.
Right.
lost your voice again, Katie. That was good.
Okay.
Better than what she probably was thinking she would like to say.
Oh yeah.
I think your voice is back, Katie.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, to clarify, all we're looking at here is closing the only thing we offer on Saturdays, which is curbside, and only on December 26th. And you put it on the agenda as a staff request.
Yes.
I take it though from the discussion or the nature of your presentation that the senior staff is supportive of the idea as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We did discuss it yesterday, and everyone.
Okay. Anybody have anything else regarding this? Can I get a motion to approve the request?
I make the motion.
I think Don got in first, Jones seconds.
Do.
Any further discussion? Hearing none,
Well, if I came in second, then now I'll approve it or whatever.
no, we're going to give you credit for making the motion, Don.
Right.
I'll send you a certificate, okay?
Make sure it's
Okay, any additional discussion? Okay, then I'll call the question and do a roll call. Don, yes or no?
yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
thanks. John? John, are you there? Okay, and Dave's a yes. Okay, that takes care of that. Now, how do you want to handle this Wi-Fi hotspot? Have any of you let me ask this. Have any of you not been able to read the Wi-Fi hotspot form? Not read.
I haven't tried.
Okay, Don has not.
Well, I haven't tried. I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
You want to highlight it for us, Katie? I don't know that we need to read through it. I'm going to say that just hitting the highlights is probably going to be good enough unless there's objection. I'm looking at it myself right now. I guess
I had a question on renewals. When I read the first draft. Can people renew on the hotspot? Maybe it's in this revised.
Katie, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Okay, am I back?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, we basically repurposed the agreement that we're currently using for the Launchpad tablets so that we kept the languages consistent as we could between these two things. There are a couple of differences, one being obviously the cost of the items is a little bit different. Hotspots have a max $5 late fine. And when we did our staff discussion, they all felt like the hotspots were likely to be very popular and they wanted to encourage quick return by having a little bit larger fine. So this is at $10 max. We can shut these things off remotely if they don't return them. They will cease to work and have basically no usefulness to whoever has it. So the hope is that if we deactivate it, it will encourage the prompt return.
I'm not sure you heard my question, Katie. If there's nobody on the wait list, can they be renewed?
No, they have been set up in checkout process to not allow renewals.
You might want to put that in the statement. I don't know.
Okay.
Because books can be renewed. So
Right. That's a good suggestion. We can do that.
Yeah.
They aren't going to be able to be placed on hold either. So it'll be
first come,
yeah.
first serve. Okay, well that I would put that on as well. Or maybe in the advertising or something.
Yeah. The libraries that did holds found that the lists got so long that sometimes by the time it came up for somebody to get it, they no longer wanted it.
Right.
And they also spent, if you have, this is set up for a 2-week checkout, if you have it sit on the shelf for 5 days for holds pickup between every 2 weeks, you're spending a lot of the data that you're paying for on a daily basis for it to sit on the hold shelf,
Right.
to be picked up. So if this does not work, we can always add holds, but to offer them and then take them away is going to be
Right.
harder.
Makes sense.
So
Katie, I have a question. I'm reading from the policy, the form. The late fine for hotspots is $1 per day with a maximum of a $10 late fine. Hotspots will be deactivated if not returned to the borrowing location promptly. Does that mean after 10 days? Promptly?
no, probably faster than that.
It seems to me we should be more precise. Promptly is vague.
I agree. Maybe after, what's the, yeah.
Just,
The
I
prompt
said
Which
it.
may prompt,
with
quicker
setting
return.
a number of days is that with not being open on Sunday and having curbside only on Saturday, we might be cutting them off faster on some people than other people. You know, if it's
But-
due on a Friday, we're definitely not going to get to it until at least Monday. But if it's due on a Tuesday, we might get to it on Thursday.
But you are talking about being late. This is not even a regular checkout. So.
No, this is like when it's overdue.
Exactly. So, I mean, how much grace do we give without, you know, I don't know. I kind of agree with
I would
Dave.
say a day,
that-
basically.
well, I think, you know, cutting the max late fine in half, where you would cut it off 5 days, that would cover a weekend. You know, if it was due Friday and they brought it in Tuesday or something, I don't know. I think 5 days is appropriate, but that's just my guess.
Well, it sounds like Katie's saying promptly gives them flexibility, given the vagaries of when things get returned. What if
Right.
that second sentence? What if that second sentence read, "Will be deactivated as soon as possible after having not been returned," or words to that effect. The intent there is we're going to turn it off as soon as we possibly can, but that varies from patron to patron in terms of when it was due.
I just turn it off directly, boom.
But at one point, Don, at what point?
I would say midnight to close on time.
Yeah,
But the question, they sign these out, right?
right.
So that makes it interesting. I don't really don't know. I'm open to suggestions.
So what do you think, Katie? Is there better wording that could go there and still give you the flexibility that you want, but yet make it clear to the patrons that it's going to happen quickly?
TLC has to set it to overdue. TLC assesses the late fines at midnight. That's when their thing ticks. Then we have to log in. Well, we have to log into TLC, run a report that tells us it's overdue. Then we have to log into the T-Mobile subscriber management portal and make a request for T-Mobile to cut it off. We can't control how quickly they process the request. We can say whatever we want in here, but I can tell you it is unlikely that we would be able to guarantee we would get this thing cut off within a certain number of hours, for example.
Yeah.
I could intend to do that, but it doesn't, it may not be executable. And I definitely chose that word on purpose because it did have wiggle. But
Yeah.
Could you add the phrase after the word promptly, after due date?
I would say 12 hours after due date.
Yeah, promptly after due date.
Due
Yeah.
date.
yeah, that's fine. Can do that.
Okay. Anybody have anything else on this? Given you need something now, right? Because you're ready to loan them out.
We will be ready before December.
Yeah, I
before
have
the
a
December
question.
meeting.
I'm assuming that there's instructions with the unit. Okay, that are easy. I mean, is it going to take staff time to explain, or is there likelihood of questions, etc., coming in?
They're pretty easy to use. Our boxes that we're packaging them in haven't arrived yet, but basically they're going to go in a a clear plastic container, and there'll be a label on the top of the container that says, don't put it in the book drop. It costs this much. If you don't return it, the late fine is this much a day. That's that information. Then in the inside of the lid is the network logon and the password and the address to the T-Mobile coverage map. If they're having problems using it, they can see whether they're in fact not in a coverage area. And then also our phone numbers.
Good. And how many
All for
units?
help.
30? Did you?
No,
was
I
it-
wish only 18.
So will they be proportionately or
6, 6,
evenly
and 6, yeah.
distributed? Proportionately?
We're starting with 6, 6, and 6, and we'll
Oh,
shift
okay,
them around if we
evenly.
need to.
Got it. Evenly. Okay.
Kind of want to see where they're used the most, what the areas of the highest need seem to be, and then if we are able to get more money for some more down the road, then we'll have that knowledge to use in implementing those.
Meanwhile, of course, the county itself is increasing the number of hotspots. There was a press release just this morning about 2 more in the county, places where people can go and sit in the parking lot and use Wi-Fi, and that's going to continue through the end of this calendar year. So altogether, we're making positive progress. I guess there isn't such a thing as negative progress. We're making progress for the citizens of the county together with other entities in the county administration. My concern continues to be, though, that for those that are controlled by others in the county, how do they get the word out to people that need the internet, that the internet now is more closely available to them? That's a rhetorical question. We don't need to discuss it. Anybody have anything else at this point on the draft form? I think we've suggested 3 changes. The most recent one was adding after promptly, after due date. And then Tina had 2 suggestions, I believe, that you took on board, Katie. Let's review those.
No renewals, no holds.
Those are the 2.
Yeah.
Okay, Tina, that's what those are the 2 things you suggested.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Going back to the internet, also the counties lay in the fiber network, and I know my neighborhood is going to be like one of the first ones, and we've been talking to the tech people, and they're talking January, so that's going to also ease the situation.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening slowly but surely. It's probably very slowly if you're one of those people that has trouble connecting to the internet. I think maybe what's in order here. I think I'll make the motion while thinking out loud. I move that we approve the Wi-Fi hotspot lending agreement form with the changes of clarifying promptly for return. There will be no holds and there will be no renewals. Now, that's the end of my motion, but this is all with the understanding that Katie is going to come up with appropriate wording, which she will send to all of us for another look. You can go ahead and implement the form as far as I'm concerned if the motion passes. But either shortly hereafter, or maybe even our December meeting, we take a fresh look at the form, and but probably sooner rather than later, I'm thinking. Send it to all the board members and make sure everybody's comfortable with the revised form according to the motion. So I make that motion to accept the form with the 3 changes we've discussed, with the wording for those changes to be arrived at by Katie and then shared with us later. Do I have a second?
I second.
We just got a second, but a qualified one. old business.
Yeah, if it comes up on the agenda for December. Right.
Right.
Yeah, and Joan seconded. Is there further discussion? Let me just ask Katie, are you comfortable with where we're at now with this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, hearing no other discussion, I'll call the roll as I have on the other issues. Don, yes or no?
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Joan,
yes,
Tina,
Yes.
John?
Yes.
John says yes, Dave says yes, it's unanimous. Is there anything else anyone would like to bring up for the good of the order? Katie, any other announcements?
When's that next meeting?
That's coming up, Don, hang on. Katie, anything else you wanted to be sure that we know before we sign off today?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. I'll remind everyone, keep watching your email for updates to include the specific language on this form we just approved, and also regarding the impacts of COVID on our operations, which may lead to additional changes. So hearing nothing else, I'll note that our next board meeting is the regular board meeting, at least, is December the 17th at 4 o'clock via Zoom. Be looking for the announcement. And with that, without objection, I will consider the meeting to be an adjournment at 11:20. Is there any objection? We are adjourned, and I want to also thank all of you for your participation. We got everybody
Thank you.
involved, sort of, for the entire meeting. And Joan, thank you for adjusting your schedule, and Beth making yourself available this morning with your afternoon commitment. Thank you all, and let's keep carrying on, doing the best we can do. Thank you, Katie and Patricia.